So the last thing I had on the agenda, it does go back a bit to the Grammys again. The Grammys have come up multiple times.
Grammys.
Yeah, but, it's a bigger conversation than that. Really, I don't know if you saw this, where Billie Eilish, singer, at the Grammys, was on stage. And it's fine. Bill Maher's out there complaining about celebrities, Ricky Gervais complaining about celebrities. I get to an extent what they're saying, but what do you want? You expect people to say nothing?
No.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot going on in the world.
Yeah.
People going to make a statement.
Yeah. And of course they got opinions.
Like I said, the question then is about the statement. Like, because for me, and I'm not telling anybody.
Like, how well is the statement crafted?
I'm not telling anybody what they have to say, but for me, it's about, being kind to one another, being thoughtful, being safe and standing up for what's right, pushing back against this administration. Do it right. But so Billie Eilish decided to say is nobody is illegal on stolen land. That's not the first time I've heard this. Feels a little lazy because you're just quoting something that seems like it's on a TikTok video. But what does that say to you? Nobody is illegal on stolen land.
I go back to the history of it. Like, the first time I heard that, I think was like a Abbott Brothers song. They did a whole song about it. Well done song. A nation, and the chorus of the song was a stolen land built by stolen people. Mm-hmm. So I delved into that. I thought that was, it's pretty well said.
It is, but what does it have to do with ICE and immigration enforcement in 2026? If you're trying to make a statement, do you have to make another statement? Because those two things are separate. Nobody's illegal on stolen land. So if the land wasn't stolen, then it would be okay. You're implying some things that kind of don't really work for what you're doing. Well, are you standing up against ICE? Because think about what you just said. Okay. This land was stolen by who? Immigrants. So are you picking and choosing which immigrants and when? So are you supporting immigrants coming here now and condemning the immigrants that came here in the past? That's what it sounds like. And because when you say stolen land, who stole it? I ain't met nobody who stole it.
You know who she's implying stole it.
Well, but is that accurate? Is she talking about Christopher Columbus, an Italian who was funded by the Portuguese?
The Europeans stole it.
Oh, so see, we're just going to get broad, right?
That's right.
Call it all the Europeans. But let's be real here. There was an Italian dude bankrolled by the Portuguese. Okay, 500 years ago, who bumped into the thing incidentally, didn't even know where he was.
Yeah. Spain, paid for by Spain. 250
years later, after a lot of immigration, a lot of people coming from lots of places, the United States is formed. 250 years after that. Now, if you want to know how long ago that was, it's been 250 years since that happened. And here you are today. What is your connection to the founding fathers of the United States? Nothing. Zilch. Nada. You know them fools. You don't know nothing about it. You don't live like they live. You have nothing to do with what they did. And
other than the creation of
a nation,
the most politically significant document ever made. So are you
saying that immigrants from back then ended up creating the greatest nation in the history of the planet?
Well, and
which is a pro-immigrant stance. Now, there's tragedies there. Yes. Yeah. I mean, Native Americans were wiped out by disease and oppressed and mistreated. Yes.
But you do have to realize that the American Constitution is probably the most politically significant document ever created.
In human history.
Yeah, ever created.
Done by immigrants.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, one of the biggest mass migrations that ever happened over time, because it didn't happen overnight, was people coming over from Europe and eventually the rest of the world into this place.
No, all of the world.
So 500 years after it was discovered by Europe's, a pop star at a place can't just say that the way ICE is handling things is bad, has to condemn the entire history of this nation as if there's someone here who's guilty.
Yeah.
And here's the bad thing. After she said that, a Native American tribe from the Malibu area of California, where her house is sitting, said, hey, maybe you need to talk to us. Who's guilty now? Because she owns a home on land that this tribe says should belong to them. So who's
you gonna get off of it?
Yeah, are you gonna give them your house? You know what I mean? Like, see, you shouldn't. Again, are we talking about immigration, or are you condemning people that you don't know nothing about? And this same person, Billie Eilish, last year went and did a concert in Ireland, looked around at the crowd and said, "It's so awesome to be surrounded by people who look like me." Oh, it's like you almost get it. It's like you were right there. Are you the problem or are you the solution? You got to pick and choose here. You know what I'm saying? You can't. And that's what I mean. I'm a communications person. Why did you have to say on stolen land? Why you got to get into that? Nobody's illegal, period. You know what I'm saying? If that's your stance, that's your stance. I think anybody should be able to immigrate here. If that's your stance, that's your stance. Would that have been your stance 500 years ago?
It's tough to say.
Would you have said back then, hey, it's free for the world to come here and check this out?
Even if you ask the question now. So if you ask the question now, okay, is all of the history of everything that happened worth it? The stolen land and everything, the way you frame it for the Constitution?
Or even for Billie Eilish, who has $40 million, $50 million in a Malibu home. Is it worth it for every individual who might say things are going fine and the world is at peace and the Constitution is the most significant historical document on earth?
Right.
And not only that, the United States has the oldest Constitution on earth. No government has lasted since the United States was created. Every one of them has been rewritten except the United States. So did those immigrants...
There's some positives there.
Yeah, regardless...
And you look at how that has shaped the world.
Yeah, and where we are now.
Yeah.
So you can look back...
Talking about these things.
You can look back and say, this was a crime, this was bad, this was evil, this was terrible, but we're not there. And they aren't here. We're here. And so what are you talking about? You know, I mean, that's sort of, what got me about it. And just from a communication standpoint, like I always say, don't throw noise. Don't throw noise into communication. You want to speak out against ICE. Why did you speak out against the entire history of the United States, which is where you've made your millions?
And even if you weren't making money like that.
Even if you weren't, if you were an educated person who could look at the bigger picture and say, hey.
Had a job, but supported your family.
But I'm just talking about the person who said it. I'm just using the subject. I'm trying to stick within this. And that person said that. I mean, I just don't understand what your point is.
Yeah, I mean, you've gained... You've gained, it's done well. You've done well in the system.
And a lot of people have, and everything's going fine. And again, we're so far removed from that. At what point would you stop?
Yeah. Taking it for granted.
Yeah. I mean, at what point, does it take 1,000 years before you stop saying, well, 1,000 years ago, they came and took this land. Who's they, man? But they're not here. Like, what are we doing? Mm-hmm. It's such a, when we talk about virtue signaling, part of the reason virtue signaling is a problem is because it's so hollow. It's so empty. It doesn't ask itself, what are you talking about? It's just, I said it. And that to me this is the epitome of that.
And really, people talk about reparations or giving the land back or anything like that. But what does that do? What can you do?
How is that feasible?
Yeah.
What are we talking about? And are you going to go around the world and tell everybody to give all the land back that anyone ever took from someone? Because all land on earth
go back.
All land on earth has been fought over. Yeah. And that's how we shaped it. That's how it became what it is now. Yeah. And I just don't understand. And I can say, look, I don't have any records of anybody in my family being here when the country was founded. My family was immigrants.
I've always said that if you're going to give it all back, eventually you're going to have to give it all back to women. If you follow it all the way back. Like who has been beaten upon and oppressed the most? Mm-hmm. It's women of all cultures, all over the world. You got to give it all back to women.
But I'm just saying, who stole it? That's all I'm saying is who stole it. Tell me who they are, and let's talk about that. Because
women did.
But again, like if for people of which most of this country this is true for, if you say my people didn't come here and do this. Mm-hmm. My people came here well after all this stuff. And even if they didn't, most people can't track it back that far. Nobody knows. And, you'd be like, my ancestors actually did that. Do you know them? I don't know my ancestors anymore than every person.
You've said this before. You should, if you're going to make a statement like that, you got to own the whole thing.
Yeah.
You got to say, we stole it.
We
stole it. It's us.
That's
we
right.
did it.
Don't point fingers.
Don't point fingers. We did it.
Yeah. But for me, I don't even see the we though, because for me, even if somebody I'm related to in the past did it, I don't know what you're talking. The people I know and I see every day when I walk around are more significant to me than whatever you're talking about. Some great grandfather or something like that I don't know nothing about. You know what I'm saying? I know you better than I know them. So why would it even mean anything if I was related to somebody who, was a slave owner or a colonist or something, which I'm not, as far as I know, and even if I was, I don't know them, man. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Yeah, we're so far removed.
Bringing it all back to the present, we're all here now. It's like we stole it. Like the ones that are left, and reaping the benefits of it and living in it.
But is it we stole it or we were born into it? Well, you know what I mean? There's a lot to be said for that. Like, I don't know nothing about that.
Right.
You know, because so if you go to someone,
or you could say, well, if we didn't steal it, we own it.
But what's the split where if you know someone in America who's African American and they say, you know, we didn't steal it, obviously, right? They were forced over here, right?
Right.
What's the I don't know the difference. You're here, I'm here. We were both born here. And what? So I gotta own because I'm European. I gotta say we stole it, and you gotta say that you. Neither one of us did any of that.
That's very true.
Neither one of us did any of that. None of that is real right now. You know, it's just what you read or what you were taught, and it's like, yeah, okay, that happened. Learn from it.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You'd be shocked at the things we learn from that. Every time someone,
and that's what we're talking about. It's going back earlier. And by that same token, where do you stop the we at? We also made the Constitution.
We also now know that if you encounter an isolated tribe somewhere in South America that nobody's ever contacted, you don't just go running up in there because you might get them sick and kill all of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not the people who did it.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So don't associate with that. We're the people who read about the people who did it. And so and
try to make better decisions based on them.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, for me, it's this whole...
By not shooting people in the street.
Well, and are you helping your cause when you're trying to speak out against ICE or whatever it is you're speaking out against, and what you really speak out against is something like all white people or all of Europe or all of America, and then you look up when election time comes and you're like, I can't believe these idiots don't vote for the people I vote for. Oh, because you think you were pulling people in when you said that? You think you know what I'm saying? Somebody out there is like, yeah, I live on stolen land. I stole this. You know, you're right. I'm going to, vote the way you vote. Or are you pushing people to say, man, I want to hear that. You know what I mean? That ain't got nothing to do with me. What are you talking about? Take your money and all your power and stuff. If you want to hate on ICE, hate on ICE. Why you hating on me? Remember I said the same thing back when what's his name with the mullet, Theo Vaughn, one was talking about genocide and said we're all complicit. Just look, brother, you want to speak out against what's happening, speak out against what's happening. Don't put that on me.
Right.
Don't put that on me. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I didn't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'll speak out against it too. I say I don't like violence, man. Nobody should be killing nobody. You know what I'm saying? Now you telling me I'm guilty of something? No, I'm not. I'm taking my kids to school. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're out of your mind.
I mean, it is how far back do you want to go, or what do you want to include? Because we're all guilty of it. The whole world.
See, you keep saying we. I don't even say we. I'm like they. There were some people in the past that did things, and I've read about it. I just can't own that. I just don't.
Or if I got to own it, everybody's got to own it.
Yeah, I guess. But am I gonna be like, we climb Mount Everest? Ain't that some bullshit? I ain't never climbed no Mount Everest just because somebody else did. How you're just going to keep going through things, but, oh, we did that. I mean, are we talking about humanity, all of humanity? Because if that's how you want to think, then you can't, you're guilty of everything and not.
That's where I'm going with it.
Yeah, but aren't you equally innocent of everything?
Absolutely.
Because the powers that be did it. The common man didn't do all that stuff. The common man's never had that kind of power. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They've always been witnesses to history.
Born into it.
Yeah. So, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I'm going to look at Billie Eilish and talk about Trump and be like, look what y'all did. Now she's got to own that. Why? Because she's an American.
That's right.
Right? Like, is that the way we're going to play this game? It doesn't make any sense, is what I'm saying. It's just, it just goes down the.
We made the David. We painted the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah. Man, I really enjoyed when I painted the Mona Lisa. Man,
yeah,
look at what I did.
Yeah.
No, I didn't do any of that, and she hasn't done any of this, and she needs to own it. Don't be pointing fingers then if you think that way. But. Again, from a communication standpoint, don't throw noise in.
There's a lot of noise in there. We didn't talk about there's very little in that whole conversation we had. Did we talk about the immigrants or the people in Minneapolis?
Yeah, which is supposedly the thing she was talking
and we didn't really get into it.
That's my point. Now I'm talking about Billie Eilish, and I'm talking about you pointing fingers at everyone else claiming stolen land when you got a house in Malibu that some Native Americans want to talk to you about.
Man, it's convoluted.
So the lesson is, don't do that.
Right.
Be concise.
Let's
with
talk
your
about
message.
ICE. Yeah.
If you have something to say that. Don't throw the backhanded slap into the other side.
Because if you wanted to get nasty with it, you could come around and say that you kind of belittled or did not give enough attention to the people that actually lost their lives fighting for a cause, and you just took the attention away from the cause.
Exactly.
We talked about something else.
We're not talking about Alex Preddy. We're not talking about Renee.
That's what we should be talking about.
We're talking about you and this bullshit where you because according to her, Alex Preddy and Renee Good lived on stolen land.
Right.
Isn't that fucked up? You know, she didn't think about what she was saying, right?
In their own communities.
Yeah, she didn't think about what she was saying. No. And you know, I'll forgive her because I just don't think that's her forte.
Right.
But again, that's why you reel it back, because I want to say the right thing. I want to say what I want to say. Right. You know, I mean, what was it? You know, I think Bad Bunny said something like "Ice Out," you know, and there were people who said, you know, "Fuck Ice" is a okay.
Yeah.
I got you. I'm with you on that.
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
You know, but, you know, fuck ICE because everybody here is a colonist. You know, essentially it's like, whoa, now chill out. Now I ain't colonized nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's just, I don't know. That was the last thing I had on the agenda because it stood out to me, though, because it was just distracted so much from what I think she meant to say. And it's like you had time to do it. And it's like some junk that people say on TikTok. It's some junk some people post on social media. You know, no one's illegal on stolen land. Man, get the hell. Oh, man.
So I want to talk about.
Here's the thing. You mean tell me, tell me this. Do you think Mexico had a foothold in Minnesota? Ever?
You know, maybe it was after the Somalis.
Native Americans wasn't Mexicans. So, I mean, like, you're mixing junk up. You know what I'm saying? You're acting like we stole this from them. From who? They weren't. I mean, what are you talking about?